What's up, everyone? We are just a few hours away from the beginning of the NBA free agency here. It's going to get started at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we've already seen some dominoes fall leading into this moment. Miami made one move in re signing Simone Fontecchio to a veteran minimum. That leaves them with a few more roster spots. They have about 3 to 4 roster spots left to fill and about $12 million in cap space to be able to sign other players. This does not include if they trade away Nikola Jovic or if they, maybe deal Bobby Portis. I don't see that happening, but I could totally see them finding a way to offload Jovic and create some more cap space. But as it stands, they have about $11 to $12 million that they can use. We've already seen, obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo end up on the Heat. John Morant moved to the Portland Trail Blazers. LaMelo Ball making his way to Minnesota, and Julius Randle getting moved to the Brooklyn Nets. And as of today, we just got the news that LeBron James is deciding to move on from the Los Angeles Lakers. That's obviously created a lot of speculation as to what his next team is going to be. We've also heard about Kawhi Leonard likely being moved. The Raptors are the team right now that are being, thrown out there as a potential suitor for them, as well as Jaylen Brown. After the Giannis trade rumors fell through, it seems like there is some sort of issue going on within the Boston Celtics front office and that team and Jaylen Brown. So I could see this rapidly changing in the next few hours as free agency begins and certain moves start coming into play. But let's start at the top here with LeBron James. Obviously, LeBron James deciding to part ways with the Los Angeles Lakers makes it for the Heat being one of the teams that he could likely end up on. The other two teams that are being thrown around are his original hometown team of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, in pairing him with Stephen Curry and that crew over there. So right now it seems to be a three-way race. I don't know if Miami is going to be able to land him. It clearly would be a good fit. Miami needs playmakers. Miami needs someone that can help facilitate and create some pressure off of Giannis and Bam. So this seems like a natural fit in terms of playmaking and be able to kind of orchestrate the offense, especially when Giannis is off the court. But he obviously would work really well with that trio in Miami. And he obviously has a history of, coming to Miami and winning a couple chips here. So as much as I would like him to land in Miami, my gut is telling me that the Warriors and the Cavaliers have a little bit of an upper hand here. I could, see that if he does end up in Miami, it would be immediately put Miami in a position to truly contend in the East. And it's all would be contingent on how they mesh and their health entering into the postseason. But that is the current news right now with LeBron James. So as it stands, he might take a few days. He might not just make a decision rapidly, right? This might be something that he might need to sit on early and midway into July. So don't expect some sort of move to happen quickly now. It's just today was the official decision that he is stepping away from the Lakers and that he will not be returning there. So we'll see. Miami is in a three-way race right now with the Warriors and the Cavs. So we'll keep an eye on that. But moving forward to kind of the other players that are on this list for the Heat, right? One name that has been thrown out there a lot is Tim Hardaway Jr. Obviously, his father has his jersey in the rafters here at the Kaseya Center. And last year, he had an incredible season from a shooting perspective, right? Like Miami needs shooters, and Tim Hardaway Jr. could easily fill that void. In terms of what he would be seeking for a salary, Miami can probably offer him somewhere in the sub 10 range. I think it would be ideal for them to offer him maybe $6 million. It would be definitely a pay cut for him. I don't think that they give him the full 11, 12 million and then they have nothing else to play with. So Tim Hardaway Jr. would definitely be an option for the Heat to fill in that shooting gap that they need Obviously, bringing back Fontecchio is a safe move, something that's cheap for a vet minimum, but they need more shooters. You just can't have a shortage of shooters, especially when you have someone like Giannis and Bam that can kind of control the paint. So he's a big name that's been thrown out there. Another one that has been thrown out there is Anthony Simons. He is also a great shooter. Both of these guys, when it comes to defense, there's obviously some deficiencies there. So that is the weaknesses that you would get with some of these guys. But obviously, Miami has good enough other players that they can rotate and kind of help out when it comes to defense, especially when they run zone and some other kind of schemes. So Hardaway and Simons seem to be some big names from a shooting perspective that Miami can use to have that spread the floor, create some perimeter offense, especially if you're using someone like Bam and Giannis to do some dribble handoffs and create some spacing driving kicks. So I'm looking forward to those two. I think those are two of my top favorites to land in Miami. I don't know which one. We can't have both, so I think it's just one of those two, if any. And then other names that have been thrown out there that are more veterans that would probably sign on for veteran minimums, one being Bradley Beal. So now that he's no longer on the team, he's available since he's no longer with the Clippers. So Bradley Beal would probably come here on a veteran minimum. He's been linked to Miami many seasons, definitely older now, but Miami could definitely use that kind of other scorer coming off the bench. And for a vet minimum that would not go against their cap space, it seems like a no-brainer. As well as Chris Middleton, former teammate of Giannis Antetokounmpo. They won a title together in Milwaukee. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. I think it would be more of just having a veteran that can provide some support, some poise, maybe some shooting, but I don't see him taking a lot of minutes. I think it's more of someone that rounds out the back end of your roster and can fill in some gaps if you have some injuries or you need them in some key moments. So Beal and Middleton have been thrown out there, as well as Klay Thompson. Klay as well. He can shoot the ball. I don't know how much defense he has in the tank, and it seems like Miami at this point is just trying to find people that can shoot the ball at this point. So the Klay Thompson is going to be someone that has a name just because he won 4 titles with the Warriors, but he definitely has diminished in terms of his stats over the past few seasons. I don't think he was very happy in Dallas, and I don't think it was like the right fit for him. So he's probably looking to join another team that could kind of better use him and maybe contend and be in a much more competitive situation than he was in Dallas. That's obviously going through a full rebuild at this point. So Klay Thompson, a name to watch out for. Also, a former alumni of the Heat, Gabe Vincent, has been thrown out there. He's a free agent, probably would sign a veteran minimum. Clearly, when he left the Heat, he did not perform at the same level he was during those finals runs. So maybe Miami can find a way to re-energize him and kind of use him to the maximum as they did when he was on the roster. So I could see that being a good fit, adding some guard depth behind Davion and behind some of the other guards that we have. We don't have too much depth there. So you can imagine that the Heat are definitely looking more for that guard wing depth, as well as, even though it seems like they don't do this, they're not really going to be going after a big man. It seems like they might just fill that in with some of the reserves that they get from the G League or a two-way roster. So they currently have, obviously, Bam, Giannis, Bobby Portis, and they still have Nikola Jovic on the roster. So as long as those 4 there, you might be looking at your front court there, maybe with Vlad Golden or someone else from the Summer League making that final spot in the back end. But in terms of other guards and other wings that you could possibly look at, Quentin Grimes has been thrown out, and so is Luke Kennard. I just think that they're going to be too expensive for the Heat. They might be looking for more than that $11-12 million salary or that the Heat have to play with. So I don't know how that works out for the Heat right now. And then 2 people that you need to keep an eye out for because it's contingent on buyouts is one being Duncan Robinson. The Detroit Pistons, there's been rumors that they might buy out or waive Duncan Robinson, which would make him available, and he might come back to Miami for the cheap. That would be a good reunion. He obviously has good rapport with his organization, with Bam Adebayo, and I could totally see him fitting in and filling in that shooting. The shooting the Miami needs on this roster right now. And then the dark horse one that's been thrown around is Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine being a buyout candidate as well for the Kings. That organization, they were second worst in the West last season. They're clearly in a complete reshuffling. Even right now, Jalen Duren has been rumored to be traded there for Sabonis. So there's a lot of moving pieces in the Kings in Sacramento. I don't know how DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and guys like that fit anymore. So if LaVine becomes available, I think he just opted into his contract, which was like $47 million, for some crazy number. They might decide to waive and stretch him or to buy him out completely, and then he'd be willing to go to another team for a much more affordable price, right? Like what the Heat have. And there's been rumors with Rich Paul going on another podcast talking about the Heat looking to maybe get someone that's worth 30 or 40 million for the teens, right? For that 14, 16, $18 million range. I think if they bring in LaVine, that they might move Jovic. So there's a lot of things that we got to keep an eye out for, especially starting tonight as some of the dominoes start to fall as free agency opens. So just wanted to come out here and kind of discuss what is going on with the Miami Heat as free agency is about to enter tonight. We're just literally 2.5 hours away from it beginning, and you can tell that certain deals are already kind of in place, that they're waiting for that moment to actually lock it in. But stay tuned. We'll be doing more of these as things develop. There's a lot of information that's coming out on the daily. Even as we're streaming this right now, there might be some information that could change the entire landscape. So appreciate you all, and tune into the next one. Peace.